Hey everybody, what's crack-a-lackin'? Wasn't expecting to be doing this right now, but you know how it goes sometimes. We've got some X-flares happening, we got some CMEs hitting all at the same time. So yeah, so we're gonna kind of just jump into it. We got the X-flare came from over here from this incoming spot that we've been watching. I do believe that this is the same area that's been blowing big ones off the back. So we need to pay attention to that. And at the same time, guys, we are now in a G2. Well, we were in a G2 storm there for a little while. And we could be getting into more here in just a few minutes just to see if, as these other CMEs start to hit. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we got going on. This will be a very quick one. I'm not going to stick around here very long. First thing here in the morning, I'm usually not here at this time. So, if you guys could, please share this out for that very reason. I am way out of my time zone that I typically stream. So, this is going to be one of those things where you guys sharing it out is going to really matter. Who gets to see this, you know? So, you can get some new people in here maybe and start talking to them about what's going on and making them aware. So yeah, now we will go ahead and just kind of jump into it. So, guys, this is something I wasn't expecting to wake up to see. Well, I really haven't even been to bed yet, but yeah, check it out. That's an X flare, guys. So we got us an X flare. The sun's getting very, very active. I don't think that this is going to slow down anytime soon. We are in September. This is a month that we always have activity. Also, if you remember, back in October 2003, we had the biggest recorded flare, X45, Halloween storm. Now, yes, the Carrington event was bigger, right? But it wasn't recorded, okay? It wasn't recorded how, the data and stuff that we know now. We didn't even know back during the Carrington event whether that a flare and a CME was something different. They're two different things, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But I do want to just kind of jump into this. So we got this big X flare here, and it was. I think it came in like at an X1. Well, we can check. It came, yeah, X1. All right. So it's the lowest level X flare that you can possibly have. Now, it doesn't mean that it's any less significant. It just means that's the lowest flare level of an X class that you can get. Notice what's happening right here. This is the Aurora oval. This is a telltale sign that we're getting hit with geomagnetic storm. This is different than the flare, guys. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is we're getting hit with an X flare and a CME at the same time. The flares always hit days before the CMEs do. So what's happened here is the CMEs that we were expecting to hit are now hitting, and we've had an X flare on top of it just a few hours ago. So that's what's happening. Now you can definitely see whoever's over here in this part of the world is going to be having some, increased Aurora. Should be some pretty good Aurora here. It's going to be pretty. I would say that intense to extreme Aurora as far as what they're going to look like. I do think we're going to see some really good Aurora photography out of this. Now, if we go down here to the D region, we'll play this movie tool here. I'm going to pause it right there and just drag it here. And that would be your X flare, I believe. Okay. So what time was that? 12 at 9:45. Let's double check it just to make sure. Yeah. So that's exactly what that. There's your X flare. Now, guys, I don't know what's going on with this D region absorption prediction model, and this may be something very normal, but I'm not seeing. Typically with an X flare, we would see that sucker light up red like almost immediately. So I don't know if there's something going on with the model, if they're starting to change these, or what. I'm not quite sure what's happening here. It may be part of how they collect the data. I'm just not sure. Hey, Hermit. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Hey, Ron's in the hizzy. Good to see you, brother. All right, now, let me just say this. We also have coronal holes that we have to pay attention to. We've got all levels of space weather. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. I got the dog here. Hey, go over there. Okay? I'll give you a treat here in just a few minutes, okay, baby girl? Go sit down. Thank you. No. Puka. 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 No. Lay down. Okay? And I know you don't like me talking on this headphone. She hates it when I talk on the headphone and she's sitting in here with me, which is why I don't do it very often. Whenever I do, she's all up my booty. You know what I mean? So, let me, so this is seeds, and what we're looking at here, this should update and it will show us where, it will show us where the CMEs are at on the coronagraphs. Now, the coronagraphs, guys, they're not updated for this X-flare yet. Okay? This is one that kind of fired off a little while ago. So that's just what it is. We're going to have to wait on the data for the coronagraph to actually see if this CME from the X-flare is going to be meaning anything. Because it would be on this side. Most likely, I will say this, most likely, if the CME was produced here, I'm not so sure we're going to see much activity from it as far as CME goes. Now, you could definitely see that was a pretty good blast, all right? But it's not the only game in town, right? We've been talking about this for days now. So we got this flare, we got this Sunspot, which we watched Sunspot Genesis with this thing. We also have this one here, which is what we're getting. All those flares right there produce CMEs that are hitting us now. We also had a bigger one over here. So everything is starting to become more and more unstable and active. You know, so we're just going to have to pay attention. And again, the levels we're seeing right now are storm levels. And this is not going to just magically stop. So here's that Sunspot Genesis I was talking about. That Sunspot does seem to be still growing, which means it's going to be right in front of us as it's getting bigger. So that most definitely could lead to it being able to harbor energy enough to really give us some really good X-flares or bigger CMEs. And if anything happens within the next 2 or 3 days from this Sunspot, it's going to come right at us. So also, if I take you guys and show you a boring graph, which is what I call it, because graphs are boring. Just saying. What's the telltale sign I said last night when I got off of live streaming? -6 on the BZ, right? That's exactly what's happened here. So the second we went to -6, which they highlight it here on with purple, right? So we're looking at the red line. That's the threshold we look for. Is that -6? When it gets there, it gets there. And I want you guys to look at the numbers over here. -6 is the threshold we're looking for. We're seeing numbers down here close to -30. That is very, very significant. That means we're just drawing all of it in. Okay? I mean, honestly. We don't usually see numbers get much bigger than that as far as negative on the BZ. Also, the densities, it's still kind of hanging out right there. It's kind of popping around a little bit, 15 to 20. That is elevated. We want to start talking about wind speed. And this is the other thing here too, guys. We're now above average on the wind speed. So we're at the top end of all the data points we look at to really see if we're going to take a good hit. And we are in that position right now. And if you guys remember last night, when I was talking about the BZ and the BT up here, remember what I said? When we start getting hit with the CME, what happens? They start to split. They start going opposite directions. And that's exactly what you see here. So I could look at this data knowing, because I've researched this enough and asked a lot smarter people than me what this all means. I can actually look at this graph and tell you before I show you. So all these things, we see the data, which is really what we should look at first, and then confirm it with a model. And that's exactly what I've done. So, and that's kind of what we see. But these coronal holes are going to be key into steering some of these CMEs. If the polarity is right with the coronal hole streams, it can draw or push them away. These are very significantly sized. Okay? These are not small. So it's the atmosphere of the sun peeled back. And yes, black is colder on these extreme ultraviolet images, which means that the surface of the sun is colder than the atmosphere. And I haven't talked about that in a minute, but it is true. The surface of the sun is colder than its atmosphere. And, they've always theorized this, that, and the other. They sent the Parker SP probe out there, and it did its thing. It got into the corona of the sun, took some data readings, and they're starting to learn more about it. Because it is kind of confusing how the atmosphere can be hotter than the surface itself. So when you look at these, don't think that that's a hole in the sun. It's just an opening in the corona, which is the sun's atmosphere. Okay? So just try to kind of keep that in mind, because we don't want to blow things out of proportion. Say, oh my God, there's a hole in the sun. Run, run, run. Black hole sun, won't you come? We all remember that song, right? But yeah, so let me do this here real quick too, guys. I want to make sure that, just make sure we're getting things going here. Okay, so I am going to back that off, and we're going to check out a different angstrom of light. What we just looked at there was the 94 angstrom. It's a specific wavelength of light, extreme ultraviolet, and we do that to see different gases. Okay, when we look at different gases, because it gives us better understanding visually. So, and just because I'm getting ready to show you one that's red does not necessarily mean that the color, the 304, is red. Okay, they assign it a color. Color is very perspective oriented. In other words, species oriented, really, kind of. Our eyes see colors in a certain way. Dogs see colors in a different way. That's just one example. So a color is very, very subjective, I guess, if you want to go down that road. But here's our magnetosphere. Okay, this right here is what I would always go to first to see if we're getting hit and how hard. This is, we're taking some hits. It's starting to lighten up already, which is what I would expect, giving the data, because we could already be getting hit again, which I think we are. You're going to see like waves of these things, okay? So what you're seeing here in the top, this is velocity. This is our bow shock. That's the first point of contact from space weather and our magnetic field. Now, I do find it interesting, some of these signatures that we see sometimes, because it does allow us to understand things a little bit better. So let me explain what I'm talking about with this. On the velocity, guys, reds, see how it says negative 600? They're moving. What that is, that's showing you polarity. Things are moving in space by magnetism. Okay? So what's happening is, when you see a negative, that means it's heading in one specific direction because it's being drawn to the opposite polarity. Now there's other, energies involved also. You got this simple blast from the power. Kinetic energy, I guess, is probably what that would be. I don't really know. But then you get the 600 positive. So when we see those colors, that means that plasma is actually moving the other direction. And we have to understand that when we're looking at this model, because check out what happens here. Okay, so I'll start you guys here at the beginning. When we get hit, you can tell we get hit because our bow shock bends, and then you see the darker red show up here on the side, right? Now remember, this is a two-dimensional model trying to represent something that's three-dimensional. You have to try to understand that also. But our magnetosphere will get stretched out, the tail will. And see what's happening here? Okay, you see how those right there starts right there. Okay, so we didn't have hardly any speed right there, but check out right here. We can't ignore that. We took a hit right there. So what's happening is our magnetic field lines are getting moved, and they're probably getting broken, some of them. So we get bam, and then we get the speed back here, and then we're going to get a reconnection event, and that's going to be telltale sign from the blues showing up, which indicates moving right to left. Okay, right there. See that? See how that happened? Right there. See how it reached back out? We're getting reconnected. Now, this is pretty far back, so that means our tail is stretched out pretty far, which would indicate that we have a chance for an Aurora substorm. And I went over that a few weeks back, but that could mean just simply that. It could mean that we are looking at some pretty intense Aurora. So if you look at this is the density. The darker blues are higher dense, and the lighter colors are low dense, right? So inside our protection, you're getting lower dense particles, right? But on the outside, you're getting all these big hits, high dense hits. So that's why it's blue. Now this only goes up to, I think, what number is it? 4. Yeah. So anything above 4 is still going to show up this color. It just doesn't go any higher. So most likely we're above 4. And I seen something there when I first checked this out, guys. I think this is funny. Zorro left his mark here. Check this out. Right there. It means absolutely nothing. I just thought it was funny. Anyway. So you can actually see our tail getting stretched out here. And it's already stretched out way back here, but this is really the inside, and it's really getting, pulled back. Watch. See that? So again, there you go with that. Also, you're noticing kind of a flat line. That's also indicating that we're getting hit pretty hard, because this typically will have a rounded shape, almost like a teardrop. Okay? But anyway, here's the telltale beat all, whatever you want to say here. This is magnetic pressure. If we're taking big hits, this is going to show it. No doubt about it. And also, remember, like I said, we can kind of tell when we start getting into the negative here, because this is our tail and that's the front. We can see kind of how the magnetic orientation is of our magnetic field by drawing a straight line like that. So if we go forward here, you see how it started to bend down a little bit? How we're kind of angling down now? That means it's pointing towards the south. But check this. I mean, these are very significant signatures here. That is exactly what I would expect to be seeing during a geomagnetic storm of this level. Now that right there is a lot of pressure. So, yeah. So if we go back to, daggone it, what did I, oh, I X'd out of SDO. Daggone it, I didn't want to do that. Hold on, guys, sorry. Did not want to do that. See, I'm on my laptop using the trackpad on my laptop, and this sucks when I have to do it like this. But my wife is not here, and my daughter's at school, so I have to have the dog out here with me. It's so I can't be in the spot I usually am. So let's go here and let's see here. Yeah. Let's just go the 11th, 304. Submit. Okay, now we'll let that load and we will move on though. Okay, so this is the HP, right? This is the one I show you guys for a more real-time data point when we're talking about geomagnetism. These are 30-minute averages each bar. Unlike over here at NOAA, they're showing you a 3-hour average. Okay? So we got into geomagnetic storming way back here. So we've been in geomagnetic storming for at least 6 hours. Now, this is their official forecast. They may extend this. This is probably going to change. So we're going to have to pay attention and watch that. But this right here is the initial, what I showed you guys last night. There's a CME, there's another CME, and then there's a third. Plus we get the buildup of density in between these two. So we could be looking at 3 to 4 shock waves hitting. And if that's the case, we'll stay in geomagnetic storming for a while. Also, I want to, preface this also that we now have to deal with this X-flare. So we're going to have to see if it produced any kind of CME coming our direction right now too. But the last observed readings here, everything went back to normal. I looked for that to change because I was looking at this Discover data right here. We're still negative. Things are still moving. Now I will say this, right here on the end, the density did look like it's taking a dip, and so did the velocity, so, and the temperature. So we could start, we probably are starting to kind of wane down a little bit right this second, but I would look for that to go back up. Hey Paul, good to see you, man. Hey, thanks for the super chat or a super sticker. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Very, very cool. Let me highlight that for you guys. There you go. I like them super stickers. They're pretty cool. Puts a smile on my face. Well, all you guys do, really. So, yeah. Okay. Now. Well, thank you, Amber. Appreciate that. Hey, Jonathan. Okay. So, this is the Aurora forecast. Check this out. I mean, they're talking this tonight, or saying tomorrow night, but I'm not sure where their time frame is right at the moment. But look at that. That's going to be some pretty intense Aurora if this pans out. Okay? So, and that is set up to show for us over here in the Western Hemisphere. And, yeah. So, anybody in the States tonight, or even globally, if you're up towards the North Pole, go get some Aurora photography and send it to me. I would love to see it. I have to say thank you again to Lamonda and her husband. I showed you guys some Aurora pics they sent me from this summer. It was pretty cool. Really cool stuff. They caught the Big Dipper just like Ilea did, and it's awesome. So, yeah. Oh, Angel, what's up? Stephanie's in here, too. Awesome. Good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. And I know it's an odd time. Tab's here too. I'm glad you guys seriously, I am glad you guys get a chance to catch a live. I really am. But guys, there's something called Southern Lights also. Okay? We get Aurora in both poles. So, yeah, I'll just say that. And that's what this is showing you here. If you want to know what's expected during certain levels, you can come down here and look at this. They've kind of got it mapped out for you. I do think they need to change it a little bit and intensify it just a touch. But, I ain't going to sit here and split hairs right now. Here's the Helio viewer. This is the scale of the Earth. Okay? Look how big these sunspots are. This is the one that just was born, basically. Let's go over here and hit the latest data. Yeah, you seen it move there a little bit. Come on, there it goes. All right. So yeah, you can see how the size compared to the Earth is, right? And I show that to you for that very reason. It gives you guys an idea of exactly how big these sunspots actually are. So when we see really big ones, it helps you understand. So, Dr. Tony Phillips, well, look, yep, he's saying just hit. It did. No doubt. We got more hitting here in just very shortly. Anything else new that I didn't show you guys last night? No. It does look like the fireball reports are starting to wane down also. So we're probably coming out of that meteor shower. That's my guess. We get a fireball uptick when that happens, when we get meteor showers. So I think the last one we got was the Perseid meteor showers. Okay, so here's SDO again, and this is the extreme ultraviolet, and again, this is the 304. This shows us ionized helium, and it does show plasma really well. And what I'm looking for here is over here, because I'm very interested in what's going on this side. And the reason why is because everything's rotating left to right here. The equatorial, the regions of the sun rotate faster than the poles. The sun's not a rock, so it's able to do that. And that's also why sunspots start in a line up here, and as the years go on, they migrate towards the equator. Everything's getting pulled. Everything starts vertical at the beginning of a sun cycle. Then things start to get pulled. Hey, Genius, thank you so much for those gifted memberships. Awesome. Tell you what, guys, you guys really do take care of us. You truly do. I just, yeah. Man. I really do wish there was a word bigger than this thank you. I'm just humbled every time you guys do it. So, thank you. Anyway, you see how tall this is standing up? Look at all that plasma rain. That's solar rain. And what's happening there is you got charged particles rushing back down to the surface on that magnetic line. It's amazing. It's beautiful to begin with. But, guys, this is, yeah, very active. So we're going to have to watch this one. That's actually starting to rotate this over this direction. But we have to watch that for the danger zone. Remember, over here, it's our connection to the sun. So if we get a CME popping off, if it crosses over our connection, it will most likely give us a radiation storm. But typically, we don't have to worry about that too much because it takes like a S2 or S3 to really make us even aware that that radiation storm's happening. So, and I went over that before too. So with that being said, this one here is the one I'm more got my eye on, guys. This region right here, the one that just had the X flare. This one here too. I mean, if any of these flare right here, the flare is going to hit us, and any kind of CME is probably going to impact us also. But this one here has been very active on the backside. We've had multiple full halo blasts go off the backside from this area of the sun. It's now facing us. It's starting to. And the first thing it did was shot an X-flare at us as soon as it could see us. So, and also I will point this out too. The X-flare that happened right here is partially occulted by the sun. In other words, the flare is still a little bit on the backside. So we didn't catch all the X-ray that it had to give us. So if that would have happened right here, we'd be talking about a bigger X-flare. And so we really do have to pay attention to that. But yeah. So I know everybody wants to know what can we expect to see. I'm not going to read these scales to you, but I am going to show them to you. And better yet, I'm going to show you how you can go click and go look yourself. So if you come over here to NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, and you just scroll down to the bottom, Everything I show you, a lot of the models are right here, okay? But we also have these dashboards that we can go look at, and that's kind of what I'm saying here. So if you want to know about Aurora, you click on the Aurora one, just so on and so forth. So if you guys want to see those models and you want to look for yourself, there you have it. You can do that. So, and I would strongly encourage you to. Please go look. So yeah, now the storm levels, you can, if you scroll down here to the bottom, they'll be under what we call space weather scales, is what they call it. Let's see if I can't find it. Let's see here. I mean, I got it in a shortcut right here that I can just show it to you. But if you guys look on the bottom there, you'll find it. It's there. So here's your space weather scales. Again, I'm not going to go over this, but what we're looking at now is the geomagnetic storm levels, right? G1 to G5. And then we want, I'm just going to skip over the solar radiation storm because we're not having one of those right now. But then we got the radio blackouts, which is what flares cause. Okay, so if we get, you know, an R5, that's a pretty big flare. You can look over here. It has to be at least an X20. So if you ever see something like that, and we will, eventually, guys, it's not a matter of if. It is simply a matter of when we start to see these things. This will happen. No doubt. No doubt. There is no stopping it. And let me say this. It is normal, a lot of it. Okay? In the Aurora forecast on the South Pole, give me 1 second here, bud. I'll show you. Okay, Paul? I sure will, brother. For real. Okay? So I'm going to highlight that message there. And let me go to the Aurora dashboard. Again, guys, come over here to NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, right? And I've already showed you this a second ago, but that's where I found it, right? It was over there. Now, if we scroll down, this is what they're forecasting up here. Only thing I can do for you, Paul, you probably can somewhere. I just don't know where to go see it. But you can run this model. Okay? And it'll show you 24 hours. But what I can also say is you can literally look at a geomagnetic forecast as far as solar storms. And when you see the higher ones, when you see the more powerful ones, that's when you're going to see more Aurora. Okay? So if you come over here and you look at this forecast here, okay? Yeah. So and I'm not sure exactly if they actually put out a forecast on the Aurora. I think they do. Let's look. Well, maybe not. At least not here. That's why they're showing you this, okay? 3-day forecast for Aurora, not for Aurora, but for geomagnetic activity. So, yeah. But, guys, that is all I got for you. And I know I just wanted to come on and give you guys this because of what just happened. Hey, Pat Waters Vlogs. Members for 3 months. Thank you. St. Augustine, Florida. Love it. Love it, love it. Thank you for being here. Let me highlight that message there. That's awesome. Guys, I love the fact you guys are using your free super chats there. Those of you that are members, you guys get 1 free super chat a month. And, yeah, it's good that you use that. Because it really highlights what you're saying and it really draws people's attention and I see it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But, you know, that's how it is. With your prosthetic. Killing me there, Paul. Killing me there. I'm glad you're here, Linda. I really am. Hope you're feeling better. I know you're dealing with some stuff there. So yeah. Well, thank you, Pat. I really do appreciate that, guys. I mean, you guys have really been there for me. You know, you really have picked up my mood and stuff. There's times, guys, and every YouTuber goes through this. Um, it just you just don't want to do it for a while. You know what I mean? There you go, Planet Hermit for hey, Planet Hermit. Love it, love it, love it, guys. You guys are rock stars, every single one of you. I mean, honestly. You know, where else? Let me just say this: where else can you go? And I don't want anybody taking offense to this because this is actually me being very positive. Okay. Um, Hold on one second, guys. I need to get to the comment here. I'm gonna put that up there. Okay. So I'm sitting here getting ready to log off, right? And I see this. Let me show you. I'm gonna highlight the comment too. Let's see if I can't find it. That right there. Okay. Dillard says, well, the Bible says the earth is a sphere, does it not? So, I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know who he was even talking to. I'm assuming somebody was in here probably talking about the flat earth thing. I don't judge people. People are welcome to have whatever opinion they want. And that's what's different, okay, than a lot of other channels. You guys can come in here and both of you can be completely on opposite sides of any subject and you can still be respectful and talk to one another. I see it every show. I see it in there. I don't always highlight it like I just did, but that's such a great example of somebody not getting just stupid mad over something that they don't agree with the other person with. And I don't even know what the conversation is. I don't know who Dillard was even talking to. It doesn't matter to me. That's what I'm saying. Whoever that person is allowed to have whatever opinion they want. I mean, and then that's just a fact. And we need to, all of us just need to get off of our, I don't want to say high horse, but just let that ego just go. And allow, because how would you like it if somebody said you couldn't have a certain opinion? You know what I mean? So I'm not going to do that to you guys. I just won't. Hope you guys appreciate that. And I realize that some subjects are really, really hard to talk about to one another because just on their face they are immediately just made for arguments. You know what I mean? And because of the way we do our chat here, we don't allow anybody to talk negative about anybody or any other channel, even if people think that I don't like them. That right there, that one rule, and be respectful, is what keeps the chat the way that it is. Because my moderators know if you step out of that, there's consequences to that as far as, timed out or even being banned if it's too much. So, yeah. You do like soup? I like soup. But anyway, I am going to get off here, guys. Thank you guys for coming this morning. Again, guys, I know I'm not usually here. Thank you for everybody that donated the memberships and the super sticker. You guys are awesome. And all you guys that are here, you make my day every day. Please share this out. This is going to be one that not everybody's going to see. Hey, you guys see that? Look, we're getting hit with another flare right now. That changed from green to yellow. So we may be back sooner than I think. We'll see. Okay? But for now, guys, have a great day. Stay positive. That's all I can say to you. Don't be scared. There's absolutely nothing to be afraid about. We just got to be aware and just to make sure that we're covering all our bases and everything. I would say this: there's a lot more things going around our world right now that would cause me to have more concern than this. Okay? And I always say that for the most part. Now, there's certain times I won't say that because if everything's pretty much peaceful and everything here, and there's stuff going on in space weather. But I also want to say this too. Space weather can immediately change everything. So, but I'm never ever afraid of it. You know, I'm just aware and I pay attention. So, all right, guys. God bless. Yahusha saves. And as always, you can drink this Kool-Aid.